Cherry, are you going to read a poem? Is that the... No? Are you waiting? You're on the spot. You gotta unmute your mic.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Are you trying to read a poem right now?
Maybe.
Well, Brett seemed like he wanted to delay his poem reading, so we're looking for others.
I had to restart my computer. I'm trying to get it back together.
Yeah, he's trying to restart his computer. Maybe it's time for you to read your poem. Yeah, it's your time.
I'm a little shy.
That's okay.
Let's see. It's not really a poem. It's more of like a reflection. Can you guys see me?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my room's a mess.
I feel bad.
I'm kind of shy.
The only one.
Okay. Okay, what do you guys think about this? So this is what I wrote. I've collected my life with my chin held high. The words fall gently on these pages, obeying my demand to be written. I look towards the city view of my window, proud of my accomplishment, and yet I fold. I've given myself the permission to feel sad, to feel hurt, confused. When sadness knocks on your door, it's natural to want her to leave. But if you let her in, give her a cup of tea even, and listen to her, and listen to what she has to say, you will come to understand her better. Listen to what she has to tell you. Explain to her why. That's all she needs to hear. But remember, this is your home, not hers.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So, does anybody have any comments on that?
Well, that last line is just fantastic, you know, like, hey, you can come in, but this ain't your home, right? I mean, you kind of need to deal with your emotions and, you know, accept sadness every now and then, but letting it move in, no, that ain't going to work. So I love that last line.
Yeah,
me too, but like, yeah, you can't stay forever, but we could have tea. It's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That's yeah. I'm there.
Yeah, and you know that, and when you are a host and you're bringing someone into your home, that is like an intimate kind of thing that you are being not just cordial, but you're being a good host. You're being empathetic. You are treating sadness fully, but not letting how bad of a host is sadness that the sadness will come in and just be like, well, it's my home now, sorry. like that's the kind of guest sadness is. You have to say, hold
absolutely,
up,
yeah,
like it's my home, I own it. Yeah, I thought it was great. I think the other thing that I noticed about this poem was that it starts in the present moment. That you feel this accomplishment. You're looking out the window. It sets you in this place, and that sadness comes in, and you don't let the reader in on what the sadness is saying to you specifically. It's like behind this closed door, this kind of privacy that's away from the reader. And instead, the reader is invited to their own sadness instead, which I thought was a very kind of effective move and a unique move in this poem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of captured it the way I wrote it. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a metaphor for just kind of being able to kind of accept whenever you're not in the best mindset ever, and being able to face that, and also being able to know when to give yourself a break and not be consumed by negative emotions and negative thoughts. So that's where you have to remember that it's your house. Your mind is your house. It's not, your demon's house. But at the same time, you kind of, I think it's a good thing to naturalize your emotions and familiarize your emotions and your, these bad inflictions. If you know what I'm saying, like try to understand why you feel a certain way, where these thoughts are coming from, and you'll come to understand that they come with less.
Definitely.
Yeah, Mac, you have a way of like, you know, um, verbally giving a synopsis. You know what I'm saying? Like her piece was dope as hell, and then you came on and gave it like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like watching a Stanley Kubrick movie, fucking awesome. But then someone gives like the ultimate fucking review where you can understand the movie, and you're like, fuck, it was even better than it really was. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I aim for. And
Facts.
this is actually the perfect time, because I did want to make a shout out to Emily Nelson, who I am actively courting to come on to Minds and bring her poetic butt over, because it would be so great. I basically learned to respond to poetry by tackling Emily Nelson's poetry. And she's this poet that I knew on Google+. And her poetry is just really good, really rewarding, really dense, not easy. And trying to respond to her over the years, it's like a practice. It's actually, that was an idea I had for a prompt. I didn't do it this week, but one of the ideas for a prompt that I might be doing is instead of writing a poem, respond to a poem. Try to give a synopsis, or try to take a reader or take the poet through your experience of like, okay, so how do you read this poem? How are you interpreting this line and then that line? And I mean, sometimes I can't, it's hit or miss for sure. I mean, it's a practice. You can't do it perfect.
Dude, that's so true, man. That's
yeah.
fact.
It's the value of even just attempting it is what I'm trying to get across. And I'm so glad, that you have that value too, for sure. And it's probably in you. I know you read poetry amazing. I can already tell. And I know, it's so great when censorship comes in here, and he says he doesn't write poetry, and then he comes in and he's able to engage full-throatedly with the poets that present. And so I think that's an integral part to poetry, of being like a poet, is actually, reading poetry and trying to articulate what that experience is.
Word up, man. Word up. That's so true. I mean, like, I'm on Instagram right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm basically just doing that just for promotion a little bit. I definitely don't plan on staying there too long, because it's the same Facebook vibe. You know what I'm saying? The same owners and everything. So it's what we're trying to get away from. So, like, I was telling my wife, like, it's just different. It's when I'm on Instagram, like, I'm actually reading people's stuff, and at least from my perspective, like, I'll give them the feedback that I would hope someone will give me, because I'm really reading your poetry to really try to get into your perspective, and you would think that people would do that, but really it's more about the clout most of the time. You know what I'm saying? It's about like people trying to notice you, but instead, like, I'm here to try to be a part of the company. It's not just about me, it's about like everything inclusively. If we're not all moving together, then what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And clout is part of it, and people are drawn to it. And the way that I try to I guess leverage clout is that what I like to do, and what I want to do more of, it's kind of a practice of mine, is when you read a poem and you respond to a poem, it's good to, what I like to do sometimes is to remind that poem, to reshare that poem with that analysis or with those comments. And that's basically what clout is, that you have this kind of other third party able to express honor, like honoring the expression. And I think just as poets, that's a really good practice to get into. And I know I need to do it more, of reminding poetry with my own kind of experiences attached to it, that other people might access it easier. I think people find that exciting, and saying, "Oh, like as a reader, you come into a poem and you say, oh, I read it like this and I read it like that," but then you see somebody else and how they read it, and all of a sudden your experience of that poem is deepened in a really exciting way. So I think that's kind of the future in some respect, for sure.
I find this really cool because I love hearing the, artist or the author, give their insight as to what they were thinking, what they were writing. I mean, it's just so cool. We had some great back and forth with that kind of stuff last week that really piqued my interest. I thought it was just awesome.